set up and take notice of the show because of the subject matter that Norman was conveying to them under the guise of straight humor, and it worked.
And so this was really Norman's vision because it's odd there were no black writers on Good Times. Isn't that correct?
We had a lot of contention about that because I felt like I knew more about what a black family should be and how a black father would act than our writers, none of whom were black, had no, and their perception or their idea of what a black family would be and what a black father would be was totally different from mine, and mine was steeped in reality.
Absolutely.
So after a few, let's say, emotional discussions, we got that straightened out, and they finally accepted the fact that I might know a little bit more about that than they did. And after all these years, I think Norman, after a number of years, rather, Norman came around to my way of thinking.
So were some of these worked out actually when you had to do the read-throughs, or and you were like, we would never say nothing like that, or we would never do nothing like that, or that's ridiculous, or when did this come up? During rehearsals or what?
Well, that was the thing about working with Norman Lear. He liked to get the actors' input, but by the same token, he couldn't relinquish control of the show to the actors since he had a staff of fine writers as well. But ultimately, we worked out a system whereby whatever ad libs or whatever changes I wanted to make, or any of the other cast members wanted to make for that matter, they were allowed in. In fact, they were encouraged in, until it reached a point where I was not. I'll put it this way: I wasn't very tactful in my complaints about the script or the script points.
Yeah, I think that's legendary. I think we're aware of that.
Like I said, I wasn't the most diplomatic guy, so very often it would end in me saying, "Well, let's go outside then." and the writers, these were Hollywood writers. They weren't used to that. What do you mean we go outside?
The black man
Let's
is
go outside and
scaring
talk about this.
It's a scary black man. That James Evans, he's scary, and John Amos is even scarier. Funny.
Yeah.
Well,
it wasn't funny to them at the time.
I'm sure
it was serious.
Listen,
serious
it's
to
still
the
not
point
funny
that the writers they said, we can't deal with this anymore. And Norman called me up one day. We were on hiatus. And he said, his secretary, J.D. Joe, called and said, John, Norman would like to speak to you. I said, sure, I'm here. He got on the phone. He said, Big John, how you doing? I said, I'm doing fine, Norm. What's up? He said, well, I got good news and bad news. He said, we had done the pilot, we had finished, I think, in the top 15 or the top 10 shows. So it was a foregone conclusion that the show was going to be picked up for another full season. And he said, well, the good news is that we've been picked up for another year. I said, well, I pretty much expected that. And he said, but the bad news is you won't be with us. And I said, how's that? He said, well, we had to let you go, John. He said, we can't have you threatening the writers' lives, and the writers are getting nervous, and they're going to have to let you go. Wish you the best of luck. I said, okay, Norm, bye. And I hung up the phone. Years later, we were to work together again on 3 different shows, 3 different pilots, because he realized after a fashion that I was right about some things. I wasn't the most diplomatic guy in terms of expressing my grievances, but he allowed that, and he and I established a relationship as proven by the recent reprisal, I guess you'd call it, of Good Times live before an audience. It was wonderful. I mean, I was tearful because
I'm sure
all the old wounds had been healed, and
I was there, you know.
Yeah,
I saw you in Norman.
Oh, I know you were there.
I was looking right at you guys. I'm like, wow, this is like a long time coming.
The tears were flowing. I'm not ashamed to say it. I was so glad because, let's face it, the man changed the face of television.
Come on now.
He changed the face of the most important media communication system that's ever been created by human beings. And he changed it. He changed it for the better. We began to do more meaningful programming all across the board.
The famous actor John Amos, known for Good Times and Coming to America, according to reports, he has died. He was 84 years old. The legend died on August 21st, that was in Los Angeles, and it was a result of natural causes quite some time. I think right now we are in October 1st, so they're saying he passed on August 21st, a couple of months ago, 2 months almost ago, according to the spokesperson. Of course, the family kept everything private, and they have come out to release a statement that has said, "It's with heartfelt sadness that I share with you that my father has transitioned." That was according to the son, Kelly Christopher Amos, who actually continued and said he was a man with the kindest heart and a heart with gold. And he was loved by the world all over, and many fans consider him their TV father. He lived a good life, and his legacy, will live on, and of course his outstanding works in television and film as an actor will always be remembered. My father loved working as an actor throughout his entire life, and most recently in Suits LA, playing himself an documentary about his life journey as an actor. America's dad, he was my dad, my best friend, and my hero. Thank you for your prayers and support at this time. Amos, who notably appeared in Roots and so many other movies. I can remember the Mary Tyler Moore Show, then Die Hard 2, Good Times, Uncut Games, and so many. I think this is a man who actually appeared in over 100 movies and TV shows. And by the way, recently there was a subject of elder abuse allegations that were perpetrated by the trusted caregiver, which actually he came out and denied multiple times himself, including early on in 2024. Of course, the daughter, that is John Amos, kept on insisting that his father, the father was being abused. There were cases of him being neglected, not given enough support. And of course, John Amos, I remember I even did a video, you can check it out on Dicto Media, and he came out and said John himself that he was not being abused in any way. He was a family man, and of course he's so much remembered in the 1970s sitcom that is Good Times, that even earned him an Emmy nomination for his role in the seminar that was in 1977 Ministries Roots. He has passed on at the age of 84, and of course we are sending our deepest condolences to the family, friends, the fans, and everyone who was really very close to the legend that is John Amos. Rest in power, the king, John Amos. We'll be coming out to give you all the details with regards to his funeral in case the family avails them. Chris Champion, Dicto Media.